Watch the mud fly as politicians slug it out in political TV commercials. They're always funny and sometimes unusual. And If I'm Elected, next.
Summer forecast for HBO. Cool days and hot nights. She's back in August. Body but beautiful. Bette Midler. Art or bust. An outrageous all-new HBO-only SRO special. It's a sweltering night. He's back and dashing as ever.
How did a man of the 80s handle growing up in the 50s? Better yet, how is a child of the 50s handling fatherhood in the 80s?
Tell us.
All of this and more when you catch me, Robert Klein, in my all-new on-location HBO special, Child of the 50s, Man of the 80s. And HBO only. Watch it.
Remember, you saw it here first.
HBO's award-winning comedy series.
What are you doing here?
It's not necessarily the news.
Beat it.
It has everyone glued to the tube.
Beat it.
The funniest news this side of MTV. August finds an extra edition of HBO's crack news team and a satirical hot-lick look at some of the polished faces in not necessarily politics. Just when you thought you had the right candidate. America Undercover. HBO's intriguing documentary series looks at the phenomenon of missing persons. 4 true stories of people who vanished without a trace and the effects of their disappearance on their families. 4 true cases are examined in this new HBO special. Mel Brooks, one of the many outrageous stars in Comedy Jukebox, where comedy and music videos are non-stop. Friday, August 31st, Night of Heavyweights, and HBO only. In the WBC heavyweight title fight, Tim Witherspoon versus Pinklin Thomas. Plus, Greg Page versus David Bay and a Michael Dokes bout, all live on HBO. Then turn back the hands of time and focus on vintage political commercials of the past. And If I'm Elected, entertaining, offensive, and unusual.
Vote for the real American.
August may be hot for some, but there's a sweltering wave of enjoyment on HBO.
Box Office presents 50 years of political advertising and If I'm Elected with your hosts, the Smothers Brothers.
Today, Tommy and I are ringside in the American political arena. Politics is like sports, where according to Vince Lombardi, winning isn't the main thing, it's the only thing. It is our purpose to shed a little light on how these spots work, how they press your buttons in the hope that you'll press their buttons when you vote.
In the next 10 seconds, you will be hit with a tremendous hypnotic force. You may wish to turn away. Without further ado, let me introduce to you the hypnogenesis of mass hypnosis, the Reverend James G. Masters. Take us away, James.
Do not be afraid. I am placing the name Nick Beluso in your subconscious mind. You will remember this. You will vote on Election Day. You will vote Nick Beluso for governor. You will remember this. You will vote on Election Day. You will vote Nick Beluso for governor. You will remember this.
I will go to the polls. I will vote for Nick Beluso. I will go to the polls. I will vote for Nick Beluso. I'm just kidding.
But the voters took it seriously in 1978. Nick was defeated in his bid for governor of Georgia.
He must have thought he had a very good chance because he didn't resort to some of the tactics other candidates used.
Mudslinging!
Must be election time.
They're throwing mud at Bob Dole again.
Swindles. Juvenile delinquency. Crime. Riots. Hear what Barry Goldwater has to say about our lack of moral leadership.
The leadership of this nation has a clear and immediate challenge to go to work effectively and go to work immediately to restore proper respect for law and order in this land, and not just prior to Election Day either.
It's got to be a slogan people will believe.
How about Mondale? He'll stop inflation.
Now, when Mondale was vice president, inflation was 12%. We don't want to remind anybody of that.
Wait a minute, I got it. Mondale, he'll cut taxes.
That's crazy. When Mondale and Carter were in office, taxes went way up. Voters threw him out of office.
Now, how about this? Vote for Mondale. He doesn't owe anybody anything. All right, okay. I've got it. Vote for Mondale. He's nice to his mother.
Yeah, I bet he's got a nice dog, too. What's it going to do with this for now?
When you vote, you'll notice that under every candidate's name, he'll list his occupation as a guide to his experience and qualifications for office. Every candidate but one. If Ronald Reagan can't find anything in his background to qualify him for office, how can he expect the rest of us to find it?
Stop that, Tommy. Tommy, stop that. You can't do that.
Why not? They do it on TV.
Hey, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you. This is your brother. Look what you did to my face.
Lighten up.
What do you mean, lighten up? Look at me.
Lighten up. I'm not the only graffiti artist on television. Just the best. Little thing there. How's that look?
Like mother.
Here's your ears. There's your other ear. There's your horns.
My horns are bigger than that.
Bill Roy is trying to make Senator Bob Dole look bad. He's passing out a brochure that says Bob Dole is against Social Security increases. Bill Roy, come off it. Since going to the Senate, Bob Dole has voted for every Social Security increase signed into law. He's been a leader in support of the elderly. The truth is, the more you know about Senator Bob Dole, the better he looks.
Who is your choice to be a heartbeat away from the presidency?
Back in the good old days, they didn't sling mud on posters. They slung it on the people. The candidate would stand on a tree stump, make a speech, and sometimes opponents would send goons to sling mud on them and break up the rally.
I don't see any referee over there.
That's because there isn't one. That's very observant, Tom. You see, in this ring, candidates are free to say and do almost anything. There is no established procedure for verifying the content of a political commercial.
Whatever happened to truth in advertising?
It doesn't apply to political spots. I'm telling you, Tom. Look at that. It's a jungle out there.
Have you noticed how the Lansing Zoo, otherwise known as the Democratic State Legislature, is such a sleepy place? Maybe that's why it took them 13 months to lower the tolerance levels on PBB, and 4 years to pass plant rehabilitation to save Michigan jobs. On the energy crisis, the Democratic legislature just couldn't quite summon the energy to do anything. Maybe they need a good long rest. It looks like it.
2 years ago, we trusted the Republicans to mind the store in Washington. They promised us they'd bring prosperity and respect America's heritage of fairness. Instead, they're crushing the hopes of our elderly, of workers, small business, farmers, and a generation's dreams. The Republicans have made a mess of things. Now they want to throw their weight around our state. Only one thing stands between them and us, the Democrats.
A heartfelt political endorsement.
I'm Henry Hudson, not the explorer, the dog. When I got shot one night down by the docks, my life was saved by the mayor, Tommy Smith.
Hear about those city slickers out here, bad-mouthing Doc Melcher? One of them was stepping in what they've been trying to sell. He kept calling me a steer. That'll all come as some surprise to Junie there.
You, sir, how do you feel about Governor Rockefeller's Pure Waters program?
His pure what?
Pure Water.
Oh, yeah.
The Lansing Zoo, otherwise known as the Democratic State Legislature. It's a friendly place. They take care of each other in fine style. They feathered their nest with a $3.5 million new office building just for Democrats and their staff. And they've increased their staff an average of 166% per legislator, all in just the last 7 years. Maybe it's time we pick them clean for a change. After all, when we want something, like property tax relief, they're not quite so friendly.
Indecision can be fatal in politics. The voters want someone at the controls who won't freeze up at having to make an instant, tough decision.
Yep, that's it. I'd never vote for someone who couldn't make up their mind. If they're wishy-washy. But then on the other hand, sometimes wishy-washy is not necessary. Well, wishy-washy people in certain times.
Just make up your mind. So you're a perfect example of what I just said. Playing on your opponent's changing attitudes can make them appear weak and unfit for office.
I know exactly where I stand. On one side, but on the other side, I'm not quite sure.
Flip-flop. When somebody tells you he's for Barry Goldwater, you ask him which Barry Goldwater he's for. Is he for the one who said,